Hey guys, it's KevyDog4. I have a very short amount of time to make this video, so it's not going to be as much of a playoff prediction as I would like, but I will give you a brief overview of the last 3 weeks of the NFL season and who I think is going to win each division, or at least come within the top couple spots in each division. So let's get started. The AFC East, I put the remaining schedules of each team up here at the top, obviously, and then I have their standings through week 14 down at the bottom. So the remaining schedule for New England, who is currently leading the division, they play Denver, New York Jets, and Miami for the rest of the season. I think they're going to win all three of these, therefore I think that this division is going to go to New England for sure, and a win from New England or a loss from Miami anytime within the next 3 weeks is going to give New England that division. Miami, 3 games back currently of New England. They're playing the Jets, Buffalo, and New England. I think they will beat the Jets. I think they have a decent shot at beating Buffalo, but I'm not sure because of Ryan Tannehill's situation with his ACL and MCL strain. I don't know how long he'll be out, and I do not think they will beat New England. So I think they'll win 1 or 2 of their next games. Buffalo, I think they'll beat Cleveland easy. They've got a shot at Miami, and they'll beat New York, so I think they'll win at least 2 of their next 3 games. But I think the playoffs are very unlikely for them at this point. And the Jets, I think they will lose to Miami, New England, and Buffalo, so I think the Jets have seen their last win of the season. So as of right now, my prediction is that New England is going to win this division. AFC West, the remaining schedule for Kansas City, they play Tennessee, Denver, and San Diego, and I think that they will definitely for sure win at least 2 of their next 3 games. They may lose to either Tennessee or Denver, but I think they'll win both of those. It's likely, and they'll definitely beat San Diego, I think. And Oakland will beat San Diego, and I believe Indianapolis, and likely Denver too. So I think that Kansas City and Oakland both have a chance at winning all of the rest of their games, and if that is the case, the tiebreaker will go to Kansas City, and they will take the division. Denver, I don't think they will win another game this season, though. They are playing New England, which is likely that they will lose. Kansas City, likely to lose, and Oakland. So I think that Denver really has a long shot at making the playoffs at this point, considering the fact that their schedule is hard. But their saving grace could be the fact that Ryan Tannehill from the Dolphins was injured, and I don't know how Moore is going to be at quarterback. I don't know anything about him. But if Miami loses their last 3 games as well, Denver can take this tiebreaker. The question is what's going to happen with the other teams that are within the bubble as well. San Diego, I think that they're going to win 1 of their last 3 games. I think they will lose to Oakland. I don't need that line. I'm writing ones that I think are going to win. Okay, so I don't think they're going to beat Oakland or Kansas City, but I think they've got Cleveland in the bag. So at this point, I think it's going to be either Kansas City or Oakland taking this division, depending on if either of these teams lose, because I think both have a very good shot at winning all the rest of their games. So if one team loses, I think it's going to favor the other. But if they end up tied at the end of the season, Kansas City will take the division. Okay, AFC North, remaining schedules for Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Cleveland. That's all their AFC North rivals here. I think they'll beat Cincinnati. Baltimore, I don't know. Cleveland, yes. So Baltimore, I think they'll beat Philadelphia. Pittsburgh, again, I'm not sure. And Cincinnati, they'll beat. And since Pittsburgh's 1 game ahead now, if Baltimore wins this thing, I'm not sure who gets the tiebreaker, but if Pittsburgh wins, they secure this division. So in my book, I think that Pittsburgh's going to take this division because I think they're a better team than Baltimore right now. They're on a roll. I think that Pittsburgh's going to have this, and I don't know if Baltimore will have enough wins to get a wild card spot, but noting all the injuries that are going on right now, there is a shot that both of these teams could be in the playoffs. Cincinnati, I don't think they're going to beat Pittsburgh or Houston or Baltimore. I really don't think they're going to win another game this season. Cincinnati, to me, is out of the playoff picture, and Cleveland is long out of the playoff picture. I don't think they're going to win any more games this season, or I guess I should say any games this season. I think the 0-16 season is almost locked up for them, and San Diego is their best shot at a win. AFC South, the remaining schedule for this division, Houston and Tennessee are tied for the division right now, 1 game ahead of Indianapolis. All 3 of those teams are within reach of taking the playoff spot, so I'm going to break down what I think is going to happen. Houston, I think they'll beat Jacksonville and Cincinnati. Tennessee, I'm not sure. Tennessee, I think they'll beat Jacksonville, but I'm not sure if they can get Tennessee or Kansas City. I don't think it's likely. But if they lose, then that'll put them a game back, and then it'll completely depend on the last game of the season where Houston and Tennessee go head-to-head. And if Tennessee wins, I don't know who has a tiebreaker. Oh, Houston has a tiebreaker. So if Tennessee wins, then it'll go to a different tiebreaker, and so on and so forth. I don't know who would take that tiebreaker after head-to-head. I don't know who's got more division wins or anything. But either of these teams, to me, could make the playoffs. Indianapolis, they've got a rough schedule, really. Minnesota, Oakland, Jacksonville. They'll take Jacksonville easy, but I think Oakland's going to beat them, and Minnesota likely too. So to me, Indianapolis is not going to be in the playoffs this year. Jacksonville, I don't think they're going to win again. Houston, Tennessee, Indianapolis, I think 2 wins is all they're going to get. Okay, NFC. Let's go to the East. Dallas, their remaining schedule is Tampa Bay, Detroit, and Philadelphia. To me, I feel like Dallas is somewhat vulnerable right now. The last 2 weeks, they almost lost against the Vikings, and Dak Prescott did not have a great game. And then they played the Giants last week, and they just did not look good at all. So to me, they look down right now, but they do have a playoff spot for sure right now. But I think that there's a chance they could lose to either Tampa Bay or Detroit, but I think they'll beat Philadelphia. Tampa Bay has won 4 or 5 straight, I think, and Detroit has been on a roll too. Right now they have a first-round bye. Not clinched for sure, but they're looking good right now. And Detroit, the only thing that could stop them right now is Matt Stafford. I believe, was it Matt Stafford? He dislocated a finger in last Sunday's game, so he's going to have to wear a glove for the rest of the season. So we'll see how that affects him. Derek Carr has the same issue right now. I don't think he's having to wear a glove or anything, but it's obviously bugging him slightly. So we'll see if Dallas can beat both Tampa Bay and Detroit, but to me, I think they could lose one of those 2 games, but they will still win this division. The Giants are playing Detroit, Philadelphia, and Washington. I think they're going to beat Philadelphia. I think they're going to beat Washington. Detroit, again, is a toss-up. I'm not sure. As of right now, I'm putting up my predictions for this week tomorrow, so we'll see what I choose. Washington, I think they'll beat Carolina, Chicago, and I don't think they'll beat the Giants. So I think they'll win 2 of their next 3 games, but I'm not sure if that'll be enough to give them a playoff spot. So we'll see what happens. And Philadelphia, I think that they will lose the rest of the season to Baltimore, Giants, Dallas. They're done. To me, there's no way that Philadelphia is going to have a playoff spot. So to me, it's Dallas is going to take the division, and the Giants and Redskins are up for wild card. NFC West, Seattle, Arizona, LA, San Francisco. To me, Seattle has this division in the bag. All they have to do is win 1 more game, or Arizona has to lose 1 more game. And to me, Seattle's going to win this week against LA. I think they'll beat Arizona head-to-head this time, and they'll beat San Francisco. I think they're going to sweep the rest of the season. We'll see if they can do enough to get that first-round bye back from Detroit. Arizona, I think they'll lose to New Orleans, Seattle, but I think they'll beat LA. But I think the playoffs are out of the question. LA, I don't think they'll beat Seattle or Arizona, but San Francisco, they could. The question is, how are they going to do without Derek Fisher as their coach? They just fired him this week. We'll see if Goff or Keenum starts. There's a lot of factors that'll play into that game. San Francisco, they'll lose to Atlanta. They'll lose to Seattle. LA, once again, we don't know yet. We got a whole week to figure that out. NFC North, Detroit, again, Matt Stafford is big here. If he's playing well, they can beat the Giants. They can beat Dallas, and I think they will beat Green Bay for sure. But seeing that Matt Stafford has this injury now, these 3 teams are pretty tough. So if we look at Green Bay's schedule, they're playing Chicago, who they should beat. Minnesota and Green Bay is going to be a big game, determining who really could get that wild card, and Detroit, head-to-head here. And then Minnesota is playing Indianapolis, who they'll beat, and Chicago, who they'll beat, and then the head-to-head with Green Bay. So to me, on this record, Minnesota has the upper hand, but being 2 games back, that means that if Detroit does in fact lose these 2 games, these next 2 weeks, Minnesota really could take this division back and go to the playoffs. But I think that as long as Matt Stafford's healthy, and if they beat the Giants, this game really is critical to them making the playoffs at this point, because Dallas is going to be rough, and I don't know if they'll be able to beat them with this injury, and Green Bay, we don't know how they'll play. They're really off and on this season. Chicago, though, I don't think they'll win again, even though Barkley has done a good job so far to start out. I think he's going to end up pretty decent, but they're playing 3 really tough teams who are all fighting for a playoff spot and all likely going for a wild card. So I think that the division is really between Detroit and Minnesota at this point. Okay, NFC South. The remaining schedule for Atlanta, San Francisco, Carolina, New Orleans. I think they're going to win all 3 of those. New Orleans, they could lose that one, but to me, Atlanta's in the playoffs. And Tampa Bay, they probably will not beat Dallas. I think they'll beat New Orleans and Carolina. So, actually, really, I don't know. This game's big for Atlanta because if Tampa Bay loses to Dallas but wins their last 2 games, Atlanta needs that last game because they do have the tiebreaker over Tampa Bay. So if they tie with Tampa Bay, they've got this division, and Tampa Bay will have to settle for a wild card. But if they lose that last game and Tampa Bay ends up winning, then if they take over that division lead, then it's going to be the opposite way. New Orleans, I think they'll beat Arizona. Tampa Bay, they could, yeah, maybe, but it's likely to go to Tampa Bay. And I don't think they will beat, well, they could beat Atlanta. These 2 games are big, but if they lose any games, or if Atlanta or Tampa Bay wins any games, I can't remember. It's either Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay for sure has the tiebreaker. So if Tampa Bay ends up with the wild card, they're out. One of the 2. But one of these 2 teams, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, if one of them wins the division, then New Orleans still has a chance. But if the other wins the division, they're out. But in either case, if both teams win this week, it's done, and New Orleans is out. So, to me, New Orleans probably does not have a shot at the playoffs. Carolina, I think Washington, Carolina, it's a close game, but I think Washington will take it. I think Atlanta will take the game against Carolina, and Tampa Bay. I don't know if Carolina will win again this season. There's a shot. Their best shot is probably Washington, but to me, they're out of the playoffs. Once again, any win from these 2 teams knocks both these teams out. So, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video.